What is going on, guys? DBG here, and in this video we are going to be ranking the best Galaxy Opal cards in NBA 2K21 MyTEAM. And when I say the best, I mean literally ranking them all. There are a couple of cards that I have not put in. For example, the likes of Sean Marion, and I think it's Marion and Marion, Kenyon Martin, as well as the Evo Elgin Baylor. I'm just going to stick with normal Galaxy Opals and not talk about the Evos. In general, I'm going to say Evo Marion, maybe like B tier. When we're talking about just Galaxy Opals, probably B tier. Evo Kenyon Martin, high B, low A. And then Elgin Baylor. I mean, he's in the top, probably D. He's actually no, he's not. I was about to say he'd be in worthless tier, but no, he's not awful. He is not absolutely awful. He's not very good. But, like, I don't think the card by any means is awful. So, before we get on to it, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We've recently hit 230,000 subscribers, and the goal we are trying to set is 250k by the end of 2K21. It's looking like we're definitely going to hit it, but again, it is kind of, at this stage, it's kind of like 50-50. So, first of all, Adrian Dantly. Adrian Dantly. He's not good. I'm just going to say this right now. Adrian Dantly is not good in this game. So, like, honestly, when we're talking about some of the worst opals, I mean, as an exchange player, he has to be there. No hot zones outside the three, apart from one spot. Not a great three-pointer and no range. And I mean, he does come with some decent badges. I mean, he's very similar to, like, he's like a better Elgin Baylor. So I'm going to put him in D tier. Like, I did say Elgin Baylor was going to be in D tier, so he's a better version of him, so I can't put him below D tier, but I think D tier is a fairly good spot to put this guy anyway, to start this all off. Then we got Jameson. Jameson's going A tier. I mean, if we're talking about overall cards, I think he's A tier. He's hard not to put in this tier, because I think the card is absolutely fantastic. I think there are very, very few flaws with Elgin Baylor in this game. And I think in terms of just overall cards in this game, not Elgin Baylor, Antoine Jameson, there are very, very few that are better at one specific thing as he is. Like, for example, I don't believe there are anyone that is a better shooter than Antoine Jameson in this game. There's a reason I call the dude Chicken Man. He's got X and base. Maybe Luka's better, but Jameson probably a close second to Luka Doncic in terms of just pure catch and shoot. Anthony Davis, though, is S tier. Like, again, as 2K have put on their own, like they said themselves, he was the most used player in 250k. I reckon probably 80% of people used him in 250, and there was a reason for that. The card is, like, basically perfect. He shoots the ball really well. He dribbles the ball really well. His rebounding's good. Like, there was a reason why so many people like him. Some people prefer Moses Malone to him. I will say that there are a lot of people that prefer Moses Malone to Anthony Davis, and I don't think they're necessarily wrong, but I do think just as an overall card, Anthony Davis brings a lot more than Malone, because I think Malone is a very weak dribbler, and I think AD, while he's not this god tier dribbler, is a pretty good one. Then we got Baron Davis. I mean, for now, I'm going to put him in D tier, but I'm not entirely... I don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel about Baron Davis, because he was really good when he came out. He's one of the rare players in the game that has this major benefit on next gen. If you guys don't know, like, Showtime is obviously a big badge in current gen, and you need certain dunks to trigger Showtime, but it's posterizer on next gen, which is just dunking on people for contacts. But you're less likely to be blocked on a non-Showtime dunk than a Showtime dunk. So what you're getting with Baron Davis basically is you're getting half posterizer, which is half Showtime, and no Showtime dunks, which is a disaster in current gen, but great on next gen. I'm going to put him C. Then we got, I think this is fair. Right now, we got B tier for Bill Russell. I like Bill Russell. I think he's an elite defensive player. He's very similar to Bob McAdoo in the pink diamond card. And I don't think anyone's going to go out of their way and pay 750 tokens for Bill Russell anymore now that the Moses Malone card exists. Like, there really is no point in getting Bill Russell because he just doesn't shoot the ball well enough. But I mean, just as an overall card, for his time, he was good, and he's still a beast on defense. So, yeah, let's put him in B tier. Bill Walton, You are a garbage man. You are the biggest garbage man in this game. There is no worse Galaxy Opal, and it's not even close. Like, he's the worst Galaxy Opal in the history of 2K. And you guys might be saying, like, comparatively, he's probably... I don't know if he's any better or worse. I reckon he's still a little bit worse than that Gus Williams from last year. But, like, obviously, Galaxy... I don't know. I was about to say, is he worse than a pink 97 overall pink diamond from last year? There has to be worse ones than him. But, I mean, he's the worst player who's ever had the Opal glow in a 2K game. That is something I'm very, very confident of saying. And there's been some bad Opals. And we got Cedric Maxwell. S, I'm telling you. There's a reason why. Both 250k qualifier, 250k winners are grinding for this guy for their team. We've got Tracy Mcjordan. He's like, imagine if they made Michael Jordan 6'8". That's basically what you are getting with Cedric Maxwell. The guy is a sniper. Base 3, which is one of the fastest releases in the game. Curry slide, some of the best defensive animations in the game. 6'8" with an ultra long wingspan. Hoff clamps. Yeah, he's only got gold range extender, which obviously is not an ideal situation or not an ideal thing to have. You'd much rather that be on Hoff, but like he might be all around the top 3 wing in this game. Like, it's hard for me to think off the top of my head, are there 3 wings better? Because I think he's better than Jordan. I don't think he's as good as Kawhi. I think he's debatably better than Terry. He brings more on defense but a little bit less on offense than Terry, but he's in the conversation with Terry. Tracy McGrady, he's in that conversation as well. Depending on your play style, he might be better than Tracy McGrady. So yeah, I don't think there's, for me, actually there is a little bit of a doubt, but for me, I'm going to put him in S tier. I'm going to put the guy in S tier. I think he's probably that little bit better than anyone that I would be putting in A tier, so let's put him there. Chris Webber in the same tier as Jameson. Webber shoots the ball really well. He's got a fantastic release. He's a little bit undersized. He's a little bit slow and bad on defense for the power forward position. He's a little bit undersized for center. But, I mean, if you're using Chris Webber as just a pure catch and shoot player, I don't see him being much of a problem with it. I think as a pure shooter, he's very good at what he does. And the problem is that a lot of people are going to be trying to use him as a little bit more. But if you use him like he's Jameson, he's very good. If you try to use him like he's this interior player, you're going to really struggle. So it's a weird one with Chris Webber. Like, he's not necessarily, you wouldn't think he'd be the greatest shooter, but because of his release, that's really the only way he can be used. Dame Lillard, B or C? Like, he's alright. Let me put Dame in C. I might move Baron Davis down because Dame is better than Baron Davis on current, and it's not even a debate. There's no even debate between Dame and Baron Davis and current, but on next gen, I'm giving Baron Davis the edge. Most people won't, but I am giving Baron the edge right here. But I'm going to put him in the same tier. It's just my opinion. I don't really like Dame. A lot of people do. Then we got Waxy. We got Donald. Donald's way better than both of these guys, just a heads up. He's way better than both of them. My question for Donald, I'm going to put him in A tier because, again, I think there's nothing wrong with him. His release is absolutely fantastic. Like, anyone who's complaining about his release hasn't used him. Like, he's basically, like, imagine he's got a lot, he's basically Jeremy Lin. Well, he's a similar cat to Jeremy Lin, except he's got way more length. He obviously has a much longer wingspan. He plays probably as good defense. Even though his stats are a little bit worse, he's got a better release and better player build than Jeremy Lin with very comparable level animations. So, like, when we're looking at a top 3 or 4 point guard in this game, like, we're looking at a card that's better than this Dwayne Wade. Although I'm going to put Wade in A tier as well. In my opinion, Dwayne Wade is definitely better than Donald. I think that he's he's definitely worse than Donald. I think Wade gets the better chase down animations. I think that's the one thing that you could argue is better for Wade. I think in terms of length, they're very similar, but the chase down animations for Wade is something that has kind of gone under the radar for a lot of people, but is actually one of the most important things about that Dwayne Wade card. So if you do want to argue that you're using him for chase down to get taller players, that's fine, but I do believe he belongs in the same tier. I definitely think that there's enough things that Wade does well enough that he belongs in the same tier as Donald. I think that's second tier players. On current gen, you could make an argument for Wade in that top tier, but next gen, Wade's not as good as Baron Davis or Dame Lillard in next gen. I'm just going to say it like it is. He's not as good as either of those dudes on next gen. No, he's definitely better current. Downtown Freddie Brown. Fred Brown's... Nah, Fred Brown, he's like Kyrie. He's just worse Kyrie. Pink Diamond. I think he's on current gen. I really like him. And he might, with the half range and half clamps, you could argue that he's the best of all of these 3-point guards that I have in this C tier. But he's also probably the worst on next gen. So there are 2 gens. Obviously, current gen, more people are playing on it. I'm pretty sure. Let me know if you're playing current or next. But like, it is a hard one to make these lists because there are 2 completely different games. But I'm going to say out of these 3, I think it's probably Fred, Brown, and Dame. Very, very close on current gen. Baron Davis is the best, and it's not even close between these 3 on next gen. But I think overall, I'm going to put them all in the same tier. Fred VanVleet, a tier below. He's just too small. Like, he really is. Like, the guy's 6'1", not really much of a dunker. Like, he's fine. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, the card is fine. The card is somewhat usable online. If you're a big Fred VanVleet fan, you're fine. But, yeah, he belongs there. Then we have got Gary Payton. Gary Payton's in that second tier of players. He's very similar level to a Dwayne Wade. I personally think that Waxy's better. I think Donald's without doubt a better card than Gary Payton. Although I know for a fact there are going to be people in this comment section or that are watching this video disagree. And that's perfectly fine. It's definitely a debate. But I believe that especially on next... Like on current gen, I think it's very close. But I think Oles is a slight advantage. On next gen, it's not even a debate. Oles significantly better. But Payton, again, is one of those cards. Like, he was used on an awful lot of teams in 250. So you could see that, like, he is a highly, highly regarded card in the MyTEAM community. And great on defense, so he's going A tier. Hakeem. Hakeem is that one... He's that 1 tier off top. Again, because I do think there are 2 better bigs. And it's a very debatable one. I think Anthony Davis, by most people's estimations, is the number 1. I think most people will have Anthony Davis as like their number 1 big man. But I mean, there was a lot of Hakeems used in 250. And I think Hakeem absolutely bullied a guy that I'm going to put in S tier. But I think he's just not quite as good shooting wise. He doesn't bring quite as much on the floor. Jamal Murray. I mean, Jamal Murray's in that top tier as well. His animations are ridiculous. Like, the animations that Jamal Murray gets in this game, like, just crazy. Like, that Curry slide, his jump shot. He's got the great dribble style. He's not quite top tier, but he's not far off. Jeremy Lin belongs in that A tier as well. I might have to actually change this all up. I really might. Because I can't have too many guys in this A tier. I'm actually going to move Chris Webber down. And I'm going to move... It's a tough one. I don't know whether to move Gary Payton or... I don't know whether to move, Gary Payton or Jamal Murray. So I think that Jeremy Lin, in my opinion... I'm going to move Lin. I'm going to move Lin down. I think the base 40 release is just that little bit worse than these guys, but it's a very close. I think Lin's definitely a step above these 3. And Jamal Murray is a close one. I just think because how good Jamal Murray is on next gen, I'm going to keep him in A tier. Then we got Jimmy Buckets, B. Jimmy's really good though. He can Curry slide. He's got base 22. Again, he's got a lot of good things going for him, but he's just not a perfect card. Only gold range, only gold clamps. And I mean, is he doesn't have any weaknesses. He's a flawless card, but he's not. Like, he's a jack of all trades, master of none type player. And those type of players in general in 2K, they just leave, for the price he leaves, like, there's a lot lacking. That's all I'm going to say. For the price that guy is, I'm just going to say it, there's a lot lacking with Jimmy Butler. Like, you can get very, very similar output from Kyle Anderson, like, obviously, if you're playing on small forward. Then we got Hondo. Hondo, it all depends on playstyle. It really does. Because if you're somebody that likes to dance around screens, if you're like a pro-am guard, Hondo is literally the best card in the game. Like, there's no situation where Hondo's bad, by the way. Just a heads up. There is no situation where I will say that John Hablachek is a bad card. Because he's fantastic. I think he's S tier. He's S tier if you... He's either S tier or A tier, all depending on your playstyle. There is no situation where the guy's below A tier. Like, if anyone tries to argue that this guy's not in the top 2 tiers of cards in the game, they are crazy. Because there's literally nothing wrong with him, except he's a little bit undersized, maybe. So I don't think he's perfect, but I mean, he's close to it. And if you're good with him, and you know what you're doing for 3 hunting, like we saw it at the weekend, he was Splash's star. But like, he's a player that, say, Ty would never use. So again, it all depends on playstyle for me. Like, Hondo's maybe in the top 3 cards. Maybe, like, I could rank, like, if I was making a top 10 cards in the game, you can make a legitimate debate for Hondo at number 1. So he's S tier. Then Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi's S. Kawhi's S. The defensive animations he gets are crazy. The guy has his own signature defensive stance. I don't believe he plays defense quite as good as Giannis does, but at the same time, you can't deny how good this card is. His release is fantastic. His just overall game is just absolutely fantastic. Like, again, there's nothing wrong with this card. Pretty much flawless in game, except for the fact he's got Hoff Steady, which actually is the best badge in the game on next gen. Hoff Blinders, which is huge in terms of 3 hunting. And again, he's another one in that conversation for the best 2 or 3 cards in the game. Like, I'm thinking if I was making my top 100 list, which I'm probably going to make Saturday or Sunday, where I'm going to have Kawhi, probably somewhere, he's somewhere in that top 5 or 6 players. Kevin Durant, he's S as well. Kevin Durant is S tier, and there is no question about that. Just again, fantastic release. He's got basically every badge you need. Like, he's 6'10". He can curry on next gen. Like, he's better. Like, he's great on current. He's way better on next gen than he is on current. I'm going to say that right now. He's way better on next gen than he's on current. And he was still on basically every 250 squad. He was on almost all of them, despite the fact he was nowhere close to being as good on next gen as he is on current. Great release. He's nowhere close to being as good on current gen as he is on next gen. Great release, great height, just perfect card. Then we have got, I'm going to try and fill in some of the lower players now. So we got Tony Parker. I mean, he can't dunk. I'm sorry. If you want me to, if you're Splash, if you're a pro on point guard and you want me to put Tony Parker higher, that's fine. But I don't think you can argue really that Tony Parker is better than downtown Freddie Brown. Like, Tony Parker only has gold range extender. I get it. He's got Tony Parker base, but like Freddie Brown's got the Curry slide and a better release, and a much better release than Parker. And he doesn't come with steady. I get it. Blinders is blinders on next gen. I get it. If you want to make that argument, go ahead. That Tony Parker gets blinders on next gen, but like, you can apply blinders to basically everybody. Let's not forget that. So Tony Parker is going D tier. One of the new cards came out today. Lou Hudson, my God, he sucks. My God, Lou Hudson absolutely stinks. Like, that is the one thing I can't believe it. Like, he's the worst value card in the game. Like, for anyone who has done the exchange for Lou Hudson, unless you had a whole bunch of fodder in your collection, unless, like, if you opened a bunch of packs and there's a bunch of, like, worthless pink diamonds you had original owner, then fair enough getting him. He's bad, though. He's really, really bad. That's all I'm going to say. He absolutely stinks in this game. Then we have got Mikhail. And this is an interesting one because I like Mikhail, but I don't know. I think I'm going to put Mikhail in A tier, only because I cannot put Mikhail in the same tier as Bill Russell. I just can't. Mikhail's a million times better than Bill Russell. I might move Bill Russell down. Mikhail is a million times better than him. So Mikhail, you're going A tier. You are a very, very good card. And we got Clay. I mean, is Clay that much better than Jimmy Butler? I don't think so. I really don't. Like, this is only my opinion. A lot of people are really high on Klay Thompson. And that's fine. Like, if you are high on the card, that's fine. He's well over a million MT. I don't advise anyone to lock in for him. I think we'll get a better Klay Thompson during the year. I don't believe his release is good off quick stop, but it is fantastic off catch and shoot. It's not the greatest release in the world on next gen either. But, like, he's good. He's a cone. Like, he's a good 3-and-D cone, but he's a million MT. Like, you can... Like, he doesn't do that much better than Jimmy Butler, except for the fact he's got... Like, I know he's got half range and half clamps, but Butler's defense feels very, very similar. Like, Clay, overall solid 3-and-D guy, that's about it. LeBron, A tier. I think there's... For me, anyway, there is a gap between LeBron and Kevin Durant. And even though LeBron is definitely better on next gen, I think, like, there's... Like, Kevin Durant's on a different stratosphere on next gen to LeBron James. And I think Kawhi Leonard, again, is on a different stratosphere. LeBron's defensive animations are huge on current gen. If you're a rim... Like, if you are a runner, if you are somebody that plays a lot of lanes, you're going to have a lot of success with him on either gen. Because he's in that top tier defense. He's in the top 4 or 5 players, especially for playing lanes. But, I mean, the release, it's good on next gen. It's not great on next gen. Like, it goes from being awful on current gen to, like, a more than solid, more than green bar release. But it's not like it's X and base or anything. But again, I still think he belongs in A tier. Luka Doncic, get into S tier. The best point guard in the game, and it's not, there's no debate. Again, if you're a runner, maybe. If you're a runner, maybe you'll have more success with someone like a Lonzo Ball, because I know, again, watching 250k, Ty had more success with Lonzo than Luka. But again, like, we saw dudes post hooking with Luka in 250k. The guy does everything. You can't even argue that the card has a weakness, because he doesn't. We legitimately saw people post hooking with him. We saw post hooking with Luka as a legitimate tactic to win the 250k tournament. I never thought I'd see it today. The card is that good. He can even post hook to win games. Michael Jordan, A tier. Again, Jordan is, like, for me, a little bit worse version of Cedric Maxwell. Like, when we're talking about wings, Cedric Maxwell is the worst wing right now that I have up here in S tier. Like, I do not believe he's as good as Hondo. I don't believe he's good as Kevin Durant. I don't believe he's good as Kawhi Leonard. Like, I think, like, those guys are better. And I think that Cedric Maxwell is just better than Michael Jordan. I really do. I think Maxwell is... And is it significant? I mean, he's 2 inches taller with a much longer wingspan. And a better release, so... Yeah, I'm giving Maxwell a bit of an edge. Yao Ming. I'm moving Bill Russell down. Yao Ming's better than Bill Russell. There, I said it. He's a niche, but at least, like, there's no use, I believe, anymore for Bill Russell, because you can get, like, I think you can get better guys than Bill Russell for relatively cheap. Like, I don't really think anyone out here is going to be using Bill Russell anymore, but at least guys like the post gods with Yao Ming are just unstoppable. I get it, Yao Ming is a lot slower, but yeah, I'm going to move Bill Russell down a tier, because I do think, in my opinion, Yao is better than, like, a Wilt Chamberlain or a Bill Russell, who I believe are that tier a little bit lower, because at least Yao can win a game by himself. Those guys can't. So Bill Russell's down there, so is Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt cannot shoot the ball to save his life. He's that awful set shot 17 release, and it's on normal as well. I get it. He's got the 73 pointer. He's got that huge player build. He's got that super speed, but he's flawed, man. He is flawed. But I will say, those two guys, and this is a tough one, because this guy I'm going to rank next is a really good player on next gen, but on current gen, he's horrendous. And I've tried using him a few times. I think he's just horrendous. I'm putting Shaquille O'Neal down in D tier. However, you may be able to find a use for Shaq and make him really good. I'll be the first to say that, like, if you can find a use for Shaq and make him good on your team, because I've seen a lot of people have success with him, put him higher. Again, this is just my tier. This is just my opinion. In my opinion, Shaq is a bit of a liability, but he can be used in a great way. Again, if you guys are saying in the comments that you use one of these lower tier players to for success, and that's completely fine, because again, I'm moving Dantly down one tier. Yeah, Elgin Baylor being worthless there. There's a massive difference between an Adrian Dantly and a Shaquille O'Neal in terms of overall ability. But Shaq is still a dominant force. If you use your centers for inside scoring, yeah, he's going to be fantastic. He might be the best in the game. It's just that Hakeem is comparable to him in inside scoring, and he's also got some sort of outside scoring. Yao is definitely the best inside scorer in the game. I think Yao is literally unstoppable, which is why Yao's in that tier, not a tier lower. But I do think Shaq is that little bit below Wilt Chamberlain. And I think that Bill Russell can hit corner threes. He's got those hot zones from the corner. So I do believe that Bill Russell is that little bit better than Shaquille O'Neal as well. Moses Malone, I don't know. Are there any other S tier? I'm going to go S tier for Moses Malone. It's a close one. Him versus Hakeem is... we can have this debate the whole year. Moses Malone is a much better shooter. Hakeem has a much bigger player build and gets rebounds better. Like, straight up, that's basically what it is. And we saw it even in 250. That guys that were using Hakeem or that were using Moses were shooting a lot better. We're using that to their advantage. And guys that used Hakeem Olajuwon instead of Moses Malone, while they didn't shoot as well as Moses, they were bullying Moses inside and getting a ton of extra rebounds on him that they may not have otherwise got. So I'm very much... I do think it's a debate, but I do think Moses is that little bit better. Peja Stojakovic. He's like worse Clay. Like, if I have Clay in B tier and Jimmy in B tier, I'm going to have to put Peja in C tier. Although I do like Peja. I think the upper of his release, his base of his release is fantastic. The upper makes it nowhere near as good as Chris Middleton. Because of the fact he's got CP3 upper, it's not as money as Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton's release has got the same base, which is a problem, which is a thing that a lot of people have not realized. But at the same time, like, yeah, he may not be one of, like, he's still a really good shooter, and he's still got really good length. Just an overall good player. I definitely put him in a tier higher than like Tony Parker, but I do believe he's definitely not as good. No, he's not in the same conversation as Klay Thompson. And I think in terms just defensively wise, and the fact that you're looking at Jimmy Butler's just overall just SIGs and animations, I think Jimmy Butler is that little bit ahead of Peja Stojakovic. Then we have got Rick Barry. I mean, Rick Barry is on Peja level, but if the 250k tournament showed anything, it shows that even these guys that are in the lower tiers are still usable online. Like, just because Honest used Rick Barry really, really well, really effectively in 250k and managed to make the final, doesn't mean that Rick Barry is an exceptional card. But it does prove the point that I've been trying to make in other videos. You only need to get cards that are good for what you like. You only need cards that are good at what you need them for. For example, like, all Honest needed was a 3-point shooter that could hit wide open at that small forward position. Like, he never dribbled with Rick Barry. He only hit wide open shots. So, like, I reckon he could have used, there was a whole bunch of players he could have used, but Rick Barry did the job best for him. Like, Rick Barry doesn't offer much except hitting wide open. Base 3, really quick release, a little bit of a weird hitch on next gen, but he's very, very good at that one specific thing. And I put him on the same level as Peja Stojakovic. I reckon if he'd replaced Rick Barry and Peja Stojakovic, it wouldn't have made a difference. Like, it wasn't the Rick Barry card that was what got Honest to the final. It was the fact that the dude was a demon. But Rick Barry, a more than usable card, a decent card, not a great card. Westbrook, I'm sorry, Westbrook's bad. Westbrook, that release is borderline on, it's, you know what, if we're talking, it all depends on your playstyle. I'm not going to say he's worthless, because he has a use. If you want a rim run, hold R2 and dunk on either gen, he will dunk it on people. I think it's bad to say Westbrook has no use, because he does have a use. If you're a 3 hunter, Westbrook is worthless. For me, Westbrook is worthless. But he does, like, there are uses for Westbrook, and there are a lot of people that will have success with Russell Westbrook. So I'm putting him in D tier. Tracy McGrady, S. T-Mac versus Maxwell is a debate. I think that T-Mac versus Maxwell for who the weakest of the best wings are is definitely a debate. A lot of people prefer T-Mac. A lot of people that rely on dribbling would prefer Maxwell, but they're very close. There's a reason why I call Maxwell Tracy Mcjordan. He's like Michael Jordan with Tracy McGrady's length. But again, a really, really good card. Great length, 7'2" wingspan, 6'8", half range extender, half clamps as well, and a bunch of other half badges. And yeah, Tracy McGrady, there's literally nothing wrong with the dude. There is nothing wrong with the card. Fantastic on both gens. Trey Burke base, which at this stage we might as well just call it the Tracy McGrady base, because he's really the player that's most known for it, even though it is Trey Burke's release. No one cares about Trey Burke specifically. So yeah, that is pretty much it, lads. This is the tier list. We got 3 players in worthless, 4 players in D. We got most of our players in A tier. I reckon most people probably will have a problem with me having maybe Dame. Maybe people want Dame a bit higher, but I don't think he deserves to be there. A lot of people will say Klay should be higher, but for me, I think Jordan is a lot better than Klay. I think LeBron's a lot better than Klay. When we're looking at purely wings, it's like Jordan, Wade to an extent, LeBron. I think they are a step above Klay Thompson. I think Klay is very comparable to Jimmy. I think Klay's probably better than Jimmy. It's just hard because I do think those other 3 wings are better. And the fact is that if we're talking about an overall tier list, Klay might be B, might be A, but I can't just put everybody in top tier because these guys are all elite. Like the fact that we've got, say, for example, a Tony Parker in a second from bottom tier, you better believe when I'm talking about my top 10 point guards later, he might be in that he might be on that list. So anyway, yeah, that is pretty much it, lads. This is the Galaxy Opal tier list. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.